Urgent Raiders fan, look at what just happened. Nobody saw this coming, huh? But first, make sure to subscribe to the channel because we bring you daily videos with the latest your team news, and don't forget to turn on notifications so you don't miss anything. It took one quote for Raiders fans to fall deeper in love with Ashton Jeanty. Things look great. New Las Vegas Raiders head coach Pete Carroll likely could not be happier with what his team did at pick number 6 in the 2025 NFL draft. The Raiders took running back Ashton Jeanty, and he will supply immediate excellence to a team desperately needing a consistently good running attack. Carroll will also want a team with offensive balance. The long-held notion that coaches like to run too much is not true. His Seattle Seahawks teams ran quite a bit in the early 2010s, but that was because the defense was so good that the offense needed to eat clock and not turn the ball over. And yes, it helped that Seattle had Marshawn Lynch. Now Carroll has his Lynch-type player in Las Vegas in the person of Jeanty. The running back could not be happier to be a Raider either. Nearly immediately after being chosen at pick 6, he delivered a quote that should make Raiders fans quite happy. Ashton Jeanty quote should make Raiders fans extremely happy. According to The Athletic's Vic Tafur, Jeanty said, "I am super duper excited." I gotta shout out Mark Davis, Spytech Pete. Carroll, there is a lot of history in the Raiders building, and I'm excited to be a part of that. Of course, Carroll hasn't been a Raider for very long, but Mark Davis has been part of the longtime ownership group. Maybe Las Vegas hasn't been a championship contender in some time, but that could change easily. Carroll is going to make sure the culture is set correctly, and Jeanty's ability to carry the ball will help remake that. Just as Marshawn Lynch did with the Seahawks, Jeanty could be a beast to bear for opposing defenses, while Las Vegas's defense improves under the new head coach. Running backs have a better recent history of being good early in their careers than, say, a wide receiver. As a rookie, Jeanty could help Las Vegas exceed 2025 expectations. He is clearly excited to help the team do that. Pausing this news just to say that if you want YouTube to keep recommending the latest Raider Nation news to you, it's very important that you leave a like on this video. Thanks. Now let's get back to the news. Raiders predicted to draft controversial 11.3 million quarterback in round 2A's head coach of the Seattle Seahawks. Pete Carroll got his team to the Super Bowl and won it on the broad shoulders of power. Running back Marshawn Lynch. In the 2013 season, when the Seahawks went 133, then bowled over Peyton Manning and the Denver Broncos in the Super Bowl by a lopsided 438 score, Lynch ran for 1,257 yards and led all NFL rushers with 12 touchdowns. His past success with Lynch was undoubtedly on Carroll's mind when his new team, the Las Vegas Raiders, used the number 6 overall pick to select the premier running back in this year's NFL draft, Ashton Jeanty, out of Boise State. In fact, Carroll announced the pick on his X, formerly Twitter account, by posting a GIF image of Lynch. In the post, Carroll declared himself fired up about the Jeanty pick. The Raiders had numerous other holes to fill in the draft, but in the first round, they opted to address the deficiency in their ground game. The Raiders finished dead last in rushing yards last season with 1,357 on their way to a 40-13 record. Jeanty rushed for almost twice that many by himself, 2,601, in 14 games at Boise State last season. Raiders could opt for Geno Smith replacement. Where will the Raiders go next on day 2 of the draft? It would appear that they are set at the quarterback position, acquiring Carroll's Seattle quarterback Geno Smith in March in exchange for a third-round pick that the Seahawks will spend today. But the 34-year-old veteran, who was a New York Jets second-round pick in 2013, had started only 15 games in the 6 years before becoming Seattle's starter in 2022. Now, he is tied to the Raiders through the 2027 season after signing a 2-year, $75 million extension to the contract he signed with the Seahawks, and which will pay him $31 million in 2025. That means the Raiders will need a quarterback of the future, and according to a prediction by NFL writer Joe Rivera of USA Today, they may find that signal caller in the second round when the Raiders are slated to pick 5th, 37th overall. Sanders' most pro-ready passer in draft among the numerous surprises on day 1 of the draft Thursday, Colorado quarterback Shedeur Sanders considered a potential top 10 pick heading into the draft, but perhaps due to his controversial flamboyant personality not only failed to find a home among the first 10 teams selecting, but the 23-year-old son of Hall of Famer Deion Sanders fell out of the first round altogether. That despite throwing for a Big 12 leading 4,134 yards and 37 touchdowns in his final season at Colorado. Assuming Sanders is picked in the second round by the Raiders, his contract is expected to range between $10, $4 million, and $11, $3 million. Over 4 years, considerably more than the reported $5 million in NIL name, image, and likeness money he received in college. But as a first-round pick, even as low in number 10, Sanders could have received a 4-year contract worth as much as $64 million, according to the sports business site Over the Cap. While Smith signed an extension with the Raiders, Vegas can get out of the deal in a few years' time, wrote the USA Today scribe. That could provide a convenient window to turn the keys over to the most pro-ready passer in the draft. 10 best players available for Raiders with pick number 37. Who should be on Las Vegas' radar for Day 2? The first round of the 2025 NFL Draft is officially in the books, and the Las Vegas Raiders selected Boise State running back Ashton Jeanty with the 6th overall pick. Now it's time to move on to the second round and continue filling out the rest of the Raiders roster. On that note, below are the 10 best available players heading into Day 2 of the draft who should be on Las Vegas' radar with the 37th pick. Shadur. Sanders, QB, Colorado trading for and giving Geno Smith a contract extension, took Sanders off the board for the Raiders with the 6th overall pick. However, now that the Colorado product is still available in the second round, he could be a steal at 37 and become the franchise's long-term solution under center. Related NFL draft film room, Shadur Sanders, the cerebral assassin below, is a snippet from Sanders' scouting report via Bleacher Report's Dame Parson. Overall, Sanders' natural and pure passing abilities are the strength of his game. He is a high-floor prospect with a good ceiling to buy into. Sanders is best suited for a quick passing offense, where he can play on time and on schedule. He has the mental aptitude and accuracy to become a franchise-leading quarterback. Will Johnson, CB, Michigan Johnson's tape is very impressive, but a knee injury is the reason he's still available, according to ESPN's Adam Schefter. The Michigan product has suffered a handful of injuries recently, so buyer beware. However, Las Vegas could get an excellent cornerback who could be their best player in the secondary if the organization is willing to gamble in the second round. Below is a snippet from Johnson's scouting report via BR's Corey Giddings. Will Johnson projects as one of the top cornerbacks in this year's draft with the potential to be an impact player early in his NFL career. His combination of size, length, physicality, and versatility in coverage make him a valuable asset for any defensive scheme. While he will need to refine his change of direction and reduce his tendency to gamble in coverage, Johnson's ability to disrupt plays both in the air and on the ground gives him a high ceiling. With proper coaching and development, Johnson can potentially become a top-tier defensive back in the NFL. Luther Burden III, WR, Missouri. While wide receiver isn't a pressing need for the silver and black, the position group could use a boost. Burden's performance in 2023 had many thinking he could be the WR1 in this year's draft class. However, he underperformed this past season, which clearly impacted his stock. Still, the Raiders could get good value by taking him at 37. Below is a snippet from Burden's scouting report via Parson. Overall, Luther Burden III is an explosive and dynamic run-after-catch threat. He should be able to carve out a similar role early in his NFL career. Burden has room to grow and elevate his game as a pro. He will benefit from being linked to a creative offensive coordinator who will utilize his full skill set to help the offense. The best way to implement Burden into the offensive system is to get him involved in the passing game from multiple alignments with pre-snap motion. Carson Schwessinger, LB, UCLA. It's no secret that the Raiders could use some help at linebacker after losing both Week 1 starters from last season. Schwessinger doesn't have much on-field experience after beginning his college career as a walk-on, but he is a great athlete and has impressive instincts despite his lack of playing time. Below is a snippet from Schwessinger's scouting report via BR. Overall, the former Bruin is a year or two away from being a complete player, full-time starter, but he has the makings of being an every-down contributor in the second half of his rookie contract. Schematically, he'd be best as a will linebacker right now and could become more scheme versatile if his strength improves. Trey Amos, CB, Ole Miss. There are a lot of quality cornerbacks still available, Amos being one of them. His ball skills, 3 interceptions and 13 passes defended last season, and length 6'1" and 31-inch arms should pique Pete Carroll's interest. Below is a snippet from Amos scouting report via Giddings. Trey Amos is a physical and fluid cornerback prospect with the size, strength, and athleticism to compete at the next level. Known for his strong press technique and ability to match up against bigger receivers, Amos has the skill set to develop into a versatile corner capable of playing both man and zone coverage schemes. Benjamin Morrison, CB. Notre Dame Morrison is another corner who is likely sliding because of an injury. After coming down with 9 interceptions in 2022 and 2023 combined, he was widely considered a potential first-round pick and one of the top cornerbacks heading into 2024. Unfortunately, he was limited to just 6 games and wasn't nearly as productive 0 interceptions last fall, but the Raiders could get a potential starter by taking him at 37. Below is a snippet from Morrison's scouting report via Giddings. Benjamin Morrison projects as a late first-round to early second-round pick with the potential to be a first-year starter in the NFL. His combination of smooth athleticism, versatility in coverage, and physicality in the run game makes him a well-rounded prospect capable of fitting into multiple defensive schemes. While he needs to improve his transitions and maintain discipline in zone coverage, Morrison's skill set offers a high ceiling. With continued development, particularly in his ability to shed blocks and refine his coverage techniques, Morrison has the potential to become a reliable starting cornerback at the next level. Isaiah Thomas, CB. Florida State Thomas 4.58 second. 40-yard dash time is alarming, but his tape is impressive. He's a shutdown cornerback who never gave up more than 30 yards in a single game last season, per PFF, as opposing quarterbacks stopped looking his way. Also, Carroll likes long-armed cornerbacks, and the former Seminole measured in with 32-inch arms during the pre-draft process. Below is a snippet from Thomas' scouting report via Giddings. Isaiah Thomas is an intriguing cornerback prospect from Florida State who combines impressive length and size with promising physical tools. At 6'2" and 198 pounds, Thomas has the prototypical frame for an NFL cornerback, utilizing his long arms and body control to disrupt plays in coverage and compete in the run game. While still developing in some areas of his game, Thomas' physicality, ball skills, and athleticism make him a versatile option for teams seeking a boundary defender with upside. Tate Ratledge, G. Georgia, the interior of Las Vegas offensive line, could use some help, specifically at guard. John Spytek has already said it's a wide-open competition for the starting spots in the trenches, and Ratledge could come in and win one. Of those jobs, he can create movement in the running game and didn't allow more than 7 pressures in an entire season via PFF during his time at Georgia. Below is a snippet from Ratledge's scouting report via BR's Brandon Thorne. Ratledge wins as a run blocker using very good play strength and leg drive to work inside the frame of his target on angle drive and combo blocks, strained to get vertical and effectively seal off alleys behind him. He can get over-aggressive on contact, drop a shoulder, and fail to gain leverage before getting slipped, primarily on vertical double teams when he has to generate immediate displacement. Ratledge shows solid quickness and timing as the drive man, on doubles to bump, feed, and release to line up backers. Overall, Ratledge's build, play strength, processing skills, and demeanor are NFL starter caliber at guard and should get him in a lineup within his rookie year. Xavier Watts, Notre Dame safety, is another wide-open position group for the Raiders, and the defense could use some help at free safety. Watts could help fill that role, and after racking up 13 interceptions over the last 2 seasons combined, he might be the ball hawk Patrick Graham is looking for in the secondary. Below is a snippet from Watts' scouting report via NFL Media's Lance Zierlein. Safety with the versatility and ball skills to make plays from a variety of alignments. Watts plays with rare feel and instincts on the back end, allowing him to range over the top in single high or red and drive on throws as a split safety. Watts lined up over the slot at times in college, but he might not have the man cover talent to do that as a pro. His ball skills and production are intoxicating, but his run support and tackling are quite sobering. Watts lacks pursuit discipline and fails to break down in space, leading to open field misses and back-breaking mistakes. The tackling lowers his floor some, but I expect him to drift toward his ceiling because he's so good on the back end. Alfred Collins, DT, Texas nose tackle, isn't a sexy position, but Las Vegas desperately needs a starter at that spot. Collins could be the run stuffer the defense is looking for, as he's stout against double teams and defeats one-on-one blocks with ease. Granted, he might be a better value pick at 68 instead of 37, but the former Longhorn should undoubtedly be on SpyTech's radar during day 2. Below is a snippet from Collins' scouting report via BR. Strong as an ox is a phrase that comes to mind when describing Alfred Collins' game. He has good size, length, and strength to be an effective run defender at the next level. Collins has impressive upper body strength and long arms to win at the point of attack and gain control of the block. Combined with a wide base and sturdy lower half, he's hard to move out of his gap one-on-one and can beat his man to defeat and make plays against double teams. And now, Raiders fan, I want to hear from you. What's your opinion on this? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I don't know if you know this, but your opinion matters a lot for Raiders. I'll be back any moment with more Raider Nation news.